What's up, friends? I decided to kind of change it up a little bit on this episode of NFT 365. Not really change it up, but really I wanted to connect some dots on some mindset around not only like NFTs and NFT launching, but the creator coins that I know many of you now that are listeners hold your coins, or maybe you use your coins to purchase our NFTs that we rolled out here recently. And I will tell you, one of the questions I've been getting a lot is, Brian, how do I get my own coin? Or Brian, where do I start to launch my own NFT? And I think in this world of creating content, like on demand in real time, I think it's the natural first step. It's the easy place to go. But I will say, I got my coin in March of 2021, and I kind of discovered NFTs around the same time, probably January of discovered in the sense of I actually started investing in them. So for me, my time in this space as far as NFTs go is about a year. I've been talking blockchain since 2013. Of course, I have hosted multiple, 5 podcasts. I've been building a fairly large audience, a 250,000 followers across social media, done a lot of live video shows. But interestingly enough for me, in a weird way, I kind of wish I didn't launch my coin until now. And of course, I just launched my own first NFT series, which are kind of a unique NFT series. I'm gonna launch my first full public project in February of next year. But I understand that this question of what can I launch my own coin and how do I get that started, or where do I launch my own NFT, or how do I mint my own NFT? But here's the thing: I was going to share some of the tips and strategies, and I will tell you. At the end of this, I'm going to talk about this cool little perk that I'm giving to those that have the founders NFT that we launched, as well as a couple other ways that you guys could get involved. Because here's the thing: I want to be able to help creators that understand some of the things that we're going to talk about this episode to not only build a strategy to launch a coin or their NFT at the right time, but also understanding kind of some of the nuances that I wish I knew, including things like audience and education and presentation, and also timing. And so that's where we're going to kind of go with this episode. We're going to kind of make it hopefully not too detailed or elaborate. If you want to watch the video version of this, because I will throw some things on the screen, some of my strategy and things, just jump over to our Discord. I post the videos of the podcast when I use graphics there in the Discord. But I'll make sure any of the links I mention are in the show notes. And I know a couple of you have mentioned that sometimes the app that you're listening to this podcast on doesn't have the show notes or doesn't have the links. Sometimes some of the shows only take like the first 400 characters or whatever it may be. So you guys could always go to NFT365podcast.com, and we'll actually have the official show notes up there. We're actually kind of revamping that right now as we speak. But we're going to have the full show notes and the links there. So by default, if you're I hear that link, you don't even really have to go into the show notes. You can just jump over to NFT365podcast.com, or what we're doing now is we're also posting the show notes into the Discord so that you guys can have them there as well. So for me, the first part of this, I just want to share, I got the email notification on March 1st, which is kind of cool. I went back to figure out when I actually got this email, and for the email pretty much just said, hey, we want to, thanks for applying for your coin. We want to start your onboarding process. And I was like, I got a coin, cool. And I kind of did it like that. I was like, oh, I got a coin. Okay, that's cool. Because I was already planning to launch what I was a mastermind community using Mighty Networks and Patreon. And so I kind of had the strategy. So when I applied for it, it was kind of one of those things and I literally copied and pasted my strategy from that mastermind into my Rally Creator Coin application. And I was beyond excited to have the coin. Of course, then I had to pick the name of the coin, which I'm going to talk to you guys about that in a minute. But there were the nuances around it. I was like, okay, cool. It's just another, I almost treated it like it was just another pipeline or another opportunity. Fast forward to today, and I wish I understood the shift required in your business, in your narrative of your content, and even in the way that you show up online, how you must rethink all of that to really be successful with an NFT launch or a creator coin launch. Because it's not, there are some creators that can get lucky with their first launch. There are some creator coins that they, some of the creators had, maybe they're a musician or a celebrity, or maybe they have a massive Twitch following, or a big, huge email newsletter. The learning curve might be easier there for those that have that. But for me, I didn't have that, right? And I know many of you that are probably listening, you don't have that either. Or if you do, here's one of the takeaways I want you to think about. I've always been a servant first mindset. I lead with my heart. I put myself out there, but I also just, kind of embrace the Gary V, mentality of jab, 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 right hook, right? I'm just going to keep giving away free stuff. Eventually right hook. There's a difference between training your audience to purchase from you versus training your audience to invest with you. And to me, I didn't really understand that. And that is a big shift. And not only is it a shift, but it requires education of yourself, education of your audience. But this is the magic, right? Education part sounds normal, right? Of course, we have to educate our audience on this new concept. It's the continual education, hand-holding, and really almost reshaping of your community that is required to get this kind of adoption in both creator coins and NFTs. Now, I haven't mastered it or figured it all out, but kind of cool. While we're recording this today, we hit our all-time high for our coin in relationship to the coin that we're based on, right? The Rally coin, which is on, Coinbase, and our percentage, we are 13.3. So for 13.3 Rally, you get one ADHD coin. That's our all-time high today, which I'm super stoked about. And so I haven't mastered any of this, but I do feel like I've studied other creators. I've been working with other creators. A lot of these creators have turned into my friends. And also I've kind of gone through this whole kind of this journey kind of myself and making some of the mistakes that I've made. And so for me, I mentioned, I had a strategy built out when I applied for my coin. So the first thing I want you to think about is the application for your coin and the strategy for your very first NFT launch should be something that you think about. You then participate in communities that are doing that, and then you build the strategy. And then this is one of my I wish I would have reached out to existing creators that had already had their creator coins and talked to them about some of the best practices, built that relationship. With the NFT, that's what I actually did, right? So I could have launched an NFT back in May, and I actually had a whole strategy for this NFT series. But I recognized that I was like, you know what? I need to really watch some of these other NFT launches. I need to study them. I need to invest my money in their launches. I need to buy their NFTs. I need to understand these nuances. And I did the same thing with a lot of the coins that were kind of taking off to see their adoption curve. But you would be amazed how important it is that you are fully invested in the other creators that are doing something similar to you. Let me say that again. I actually look at this because here's the beauty of this creator economy is that, yes, we lift each other up, but as creators, the more people that are leading transformation, the more people that are launching NFTs, right? If more people in my creator circle were launching NFTs, the learning curve for my audience would be shrunk. It would also add to the validity. I have some people that literally bought our NFT yesterday, and they sent me a message and said, Brian, I have no idea what this is. You're really the only one I know talking about it, but I believe in you, so I bought your NFT. And for those that sent me those messages, means the world to me. But I also recognize that for those of you that are going to launch an NFT 6 months from now, if you have an alliance of people that are kind of in your network where you have an overlapping audience, it's going to be such an advantage. And so I can't stress enough the importance of investing in current creators, buying coins, buying some NFTs that are NFTs and coins, not because they're going to make you a bunch of money, but because their strategy and mentality kind of aligns with where you want to go. Because here's the other part of this that I think is important. So I told you I got approved in March 1st. I actually designed this logo in Canva for anyone that see my coin logo. And then I went to Fiverr and hired someone that can take the logo I created on Canva and create it onto a coin. But one of the decisions I had to make early on in the process of the coin, and also it's a decision you have to make with the NFTs, is this something that is a individual thing or is this a community thing? What I mean by that is my coin could have been the Fanzo coin. My last name's 5 letters. Your coin name has to be between 3 and 5 letters. I kind of lucked out. My coin could have easily been Fanzo. It could have been some version of Misfit because that was the mastermind community that I ran. But I ended up going with ADHD. And at the time, I really thought, like, this is going to be great because I'm going to really be able to focus on the community and getting others involved. What I kind of misunderstood or maybe I underestimated was the idea and really the importance of that I can't build a community coin if I don't have other creators that also have the same mindset of coin growth like I do. And so honestly, like one of the things that, I'm very proud that we did the ADHD coin, but in many ways I feel like the coin being ADHD it's taken me 9 months to understand now how do I get other ADHD creators involved? And also, how do I educate people on this isn't just about ADHD, it's what I consider the superpowered, right? And we all have our vulnerabilities and our superpowers, but we can go into that. But so the piece that I just wanted to stress here for those that are thinking about launching, applying for a coin or thinking about launching an NFT, is you have to think about not only who is going to buy it, but who are the people that are going to come on this journey with you to amplify it, to be the people that bounce ideas off of. Because if you're doing this in your own little echo chamber, it's just not going to work. I'm sorry, it's just not going to work. And honestly, I think even having only 1 or 2 others in your group is probably not enough either. And I feel like I made that mistake as well. As I kind of found a couple creators that I wanted to be associated with, but I didn't spread enough out to really broaden what the possibilities were or what we could actually make happen. But the idea for me was like, okay, hey, now I see there's a coin and there's money behind it. I'm just going to kind of jump in here and figure this whole thing out because now I have a coin, now there's money, there's crypto, people know what's going on. But here's the thing. Yes, people might be involved in cryptocurrency, but cryptocurrency is different than NFTs and creator coins for all kinds of reasons. I've explained that on this podcast a lot. But one of the main things for me is that creator coins and NFTs have utility. But here's the thing about utility. It requires those that are investing in it to continue to stay engaged, to stay up to date, and to be part of the entire community, which requires time and education. So just because someone invests in crypto doesn't really mean they're going to be the best person to onboard onto creator coins. Because here's what happened, and I got some messages yesterday. I onboarded people in my community that I thought, hey, they understand crypto. They're going to jump in on my coin. They're going to be the first ones to buy my NFTs. Here's what happened. Yes, they jumped on board. They bought some coin. And most of them didn't log back into the system for 6 months. They didn't reinvest their rewards. They didn't start to see all of the other work that I had put in. They didn't start to network with other coin creators. And for most part, most of them came to me and said, Brian, I know I invested in this, but I'm not even sure why I did or what it was all about. You just told me to. And for me, at the time, I thought that was a great thing. But I would actually argue that you're going to want to have people that are your early adopters that are willing to kind of come into that community, learn, bounce ideas off of, and really spend the time in there. Crypto is, it's like you can buy the stock or buy the crypto. Hey, I'm going to spend this amount every week, and I'm just going to hold it for a year. With creator coins and NFTs, you want people that are like, hey, I'm going to buy this, and then I'm going to join your Discord, or I'm going to join your Money Network's Facebook group, or I'm going to show up for your weekly Facebook Live, or I'm going to listen to your podcast once a week, or if you're crazy like me, every day. To me, that's one of those key differentiators that I wish I understood, was that you really have to teach people what utility and what this value means, but you have to keep them coming back for more, and that takes a lot of work. Now, I did mention the education. It's kind of funny that the screenshot that I have of me educating people on creator coins back in June is a shirt that's almost like the exact shirt that I'm wearing right now. Apparently, I like this color scheme of a black shirt with rainbow colors, which I guess makes sense. But I started creating educational content on creator coins as a whole. But looking back, what I actually was doing was teaching people that wanted to have coins, like those many of you that might be listening to this now. I wasn't actually creating educational content for those that were holding my coin. And there's a big difference, right? There's a big difference between talking about the value that creator coins have for the creator economy versus, hey, this is the things that I'm going to do and continue to do for those that have my coin. And here's a reason you should have more coin. And here's a reason you should log in every Sunday to get your rewards. Just like with my NFT that we're launching this weekend, just buying my NFT this weekend you're not going to see much value until November of next year if you are not part of this community. Now, for some people, that's okay. You might throw $365 up, show up next November and say, hey, are you going to sell that project? Am I going to get my percentage? That's okay. You can do that. But if you really, really want to maximize not only the money, but what I believe this transformation that exists within this amazing world of Web3, you have to really have like that commitment and that understanding. And even if the commitment's only 1 hour a week or 30 minutes a week, it's still a commitment to kind of evolving and seeing. And like the amount of people that lost out on hundreds of thousands, maybe even thousands of dollars in my community because they weren't logging in and reinvesting the rewards every week. It might seem like it's their loss, but really it was my loss because they weren't able to see all of this extra value that they were getting, because then they might have told a friend or two. Maybe they would have invested more, or maybe even more importantly, they would have started to see why they could trust me, and they would have been an early adopter. They would have been, one of my super fans. And so that is an important aspect, is understanding what you're educating and how that kind of all fits in there. The other part of this whole coin and NFT space is that it can be very rough on your mental health. You guys know that that's a big part for me. That's a big thing that I'm not going to shy around on the podcast. It's something I talk about pretty much every day across social media. If you follow me on Instagram, especially Instagram stories, I create stories almost every day, and I'm very honest about my journey and some of the things that I go through, not only with ADHD, but with dyslexia and anxiety and some of the other things that come on. And what this whole thing with coins and NFTs creates is, yes, we're creating a creator economy, but do you realize what that means, right? Like, if you've never managed people or had people that worked for your company, the feeling that I love is I love helping others build the life that they want. But the thing that I take on really, probably sometimes too much, is that the success and the well-being of those that are betting on me or that are investing their money on me is something I don't take for granted. It's something that I understand that that's something that I'm going to own. And I will tell you, when the coin price would dip or people would start selling, it would impact me greatly. And it still has an impact on me. But I wasn't prepared to understand, okay, how do I keep people involved? If people are leaving, what are the ways that I can either bring them back, or I can separate the idea of those that are looking for a quick return versus those that are playing long-term versus those that are looking for a community. These are all nuances that I don't think I understood early enough, and I kind of wish I did. Because my coin, in March started off, I think, at 34 cents. In May, it went up to $5. On my birthday, when I turned 40, it was down to $2, I believe at $2. It went all the way down. It started to go up in price, leading towards, I believe, July. I think we were up to $5 in July. And then in August, we had a massive sell-off for a bunch of whales. And the coin dipped all the way below $2. I believe it was $1.38. And for me, just knowing that people were investing in me and I was educating people, and some people came in at the $4 amount and now they're at $1.38, I know that there's going to be people that are going to say that's not your responsibility. You can't take that on. But you also can't be a heartfelt leader and believer in community if you're not taking those things on. And so understanding that, preparing for that, is something that is really important to me, and something I'm going to talk about here in a minute, that I'm going to hopefully help others do as well. So, for me, and actually I found that screenshot. So on my birthday, my coin was actually $1.12. Now, the dollar amount of the coin is what I've learned is not the value proposition here, right? I actually think of it, I told you before earlier, the all-time high that we reached today was not an all-time high of how much the price of the coin was. Rather, the all-time high was the ratio between the rally coin and our ADHD coin. Because that number matters a heck of a lot more than the dollar price of it. Because as the rally coin and ETH on crypto fluctuate, the price might change, but that's not determinative of what my community and what the work is that I'm doing with people that are around me. So that's an important kind of piece of this that to kind of focus on. Leads up to right now where we are right now. Right now we have launched NFTs. We of course have almost 1,000 ADHD coin holders, many of who have made thousands of dollars off of the coin. Many of them have been able to turn that that profit into buying additional NFTs, joining the community, all kinds of really cool things that I am truly blessed to be able to create. But what I will say is, last night when I went to press the damn button and send the email out to our whitelist on the NFT, I had some anxiety and I was nervous. I was like, are people going to do this? Are people going to buy in? Like, what are people going to say? Is anyone going to buy it, right? Are they going to see the value? I understand crypto's down right now and they might be overwhelmed with Christmas and NFTs, but the overwhelming feedback from so many of you was not only did you jump all in, many of you bought the Founders Pass for $5,000. Many of you were buying more than one and wanting to even ask how you can help out and expand what we're all about. And many of you were like, Brian, it's the Mint 365 project that you launched. Or some people were like, Brian, it's the podcast. The content is so great. For others, it's like, Brian, you've been teaching me about coins. For some, it's like, Brian, I've been on this journey with you for 6 years. As a creator, I'm excited that I finally have a way to give you money because you've not been someone that has really asked or monetized your B2C audience. And what I have to say to that, or what I want to share, is to make all of that work, to understand this journey that we are on, it is without question something that you want to think about in the long term. How are you building this trust? How are you maintaining this trust? And then even this part, what is your strategy for building that trust on a continual basis that allows you to educate, but also bring people together? So what I would like for you guys to think about here in this journey is, what is the reason for creating a coin or having an NFT? I would argue for many, and maybe this should have been even for me, I don't actually need my own community, my own coin, my own NFT. It actually might be more beneficial for me to have maybe 4 or 5 NFTs from one community and then be fully invested in that community. For others, it might be like, you know what? I don't need my own coin because I want someone else to help do the legwork. But maybe I can buy a percentage of their coin and give that coin out to my community, because let's face it, although I say that I'm the founder of the coin, if you own a percentage of this coin that, let's say you come in and you buy a couple $1,000s of the coin, you now have just as much reason for this coin's success as I do, right? Because every new person that buys the coin, every new person that is part of this community, the value goes up, right? Not only because more people are having coins, so more coins are in circulation, but now we're able to actually kind of start to stress the value proposition and understand why people want to have a coin or where the coin fits in. And then lastly, the piece of this that I think is also important is timing. Your commitment to the coin and the community has to be something that you're willing to stop what you're doing in certain places and willing to change what you're doing in other places. And what I mean by that, here's where I'm going to leave you guys. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to have a special perk for those that are the founders NFT holders and those that are holding our 365 NFT. So this will be the first utility that anyone gets, and it's going to happen before the reveal. On December 20th, I'm going to do a free Facebook event where I'm going to do a Facebook Live into an event. I'm going to do a 2.5-hour event on December 20th. And I'm going to walk through some more, like, the details that I'm sharing here at like a broader level. You're not going to be able to pay to be a part of this. It's going to be for those that are holding the 365 NFT and those that are holding the Founders NFT. If you're holding the Founders NFT, I'll give you the recording of that video. So if you can't tune in live, that's perfectly fine. If you're holding the 365, you can show up live for free. You don't have to do anything else there. But the recording won't be available for you unless you're holding the Founders NFT Pass. But my goal with that is I want to be able to share some of the best practices, some of the lessons. I'll even give you I'll actually give you the strategy that I used for putting my coin out there. And then I'll take some questions from you guys, because I know I have such an amazing community and so many great creators in here. I don't want you guys to make the same mistakes I made, but more importantly, I want you guys to be successful. I want to help you decide if getting a coin is the right play, or launching an NFT is the right play, or maybe both. And then when in 2022 does that make sense? And when should I apply? And when should I start my own Discord? Or when should I understand if I need to create, whatever that may be? And so I'm going to do that. It'll be kind of the first utility for those that are on December 20th. And for those that are listening to the podcast, I'm not going to leave you guys out. Well, the day of that recording, the day after that recording, the next day's podcast, I'll kind of do a recap of some of the questions and things that we learned on there. And then what I am planning on doing is in the new year, offering some perks for you guys that are podcast listeners. If you've heard of a POAP, which is like a proof of attendance, we're going to have some ways that if you listen to this show every day, that I'm going to just reward you by giving you a special word. And sometimes a special word, sometimes it'll be a link. And you'll be able to put that into an app. And then if you have a certain amount of those, you'll be able to get access to some of the things that I'm going to be doing for creators moving forward. So hopefully you guys see that as value. So I'm going to leave you guys with this part of my thoughts here, is that I believe community is the future of business. But I believe community is just as valuable if you create it yourself or you join one and understand the role that you play in that community and how you can not only make yourself better, but ultimately make those around you better. I also believe that in this creator economy, you should be a consumer, a holder, an investor before you're launching something new. And that sounds crazy because I'm the press the damn button guy. That's my mantra, press the damn button, for those that aren't familiar with that. I have a podcast called Press the Damn Button. The book that I wrote is called Press the Damn Button. But the reason I say that is because this is a chance for us to really transform the relationship that we have with our current audience. But I also believe it's one that if we do wrong or at the wrong time, or we aren't fully invested in it, it will not only deter us from doing it again, but in many cases, it's going to turn off our audiences from maybe ever seeing the power here. And if you're asking yourself, what's in this for me? When you guys hold coin, of course, that's a benefit for me because I hold a percentage of that coin. But really what's in it for me is the more people that have a great first NFT experience, the more people that buy their first creator coin from someone else and it is a great experience and they see the value, the more opportunity is for all of us to grow and educate the masses. The people that are having a bad first impression on NFTs, yes, it could be a project I have nothing to do with. But every person that has a bad impression, they're going to tell their two friends, and their two friends are going to tell that story. And so for me, what's in it for me is this idea that the rising tide does lift all boats. And so if your boat is a creator boat and you want to launch a creator coin on rally.io, or you want to launch an NFT with your own brand, or maybe the company you work for, or maybe the church association, or maybe your kids' music group, I believe that we can all make those things happen. But I also think it's really important for us to all figure out the right way for each one of us, and more importantly, do it at the right time. That's where I'm gonna leave you guys. The magic today, right now, is not creating content or launching NFTs in real time. Anyone can launch anything in real time. The magic is listening and building a strategy so that when you launch something, when you ask your audience to invest in you, it is not only you're doing it in real time, but you're doing it at the right time for the right people and creating ultimately the right experience. My name is Brian Fanzo. Make it a great day, my friends. Cheers.